Words have tremendous power. Power over how you act, how you react, how you feel about yourself, how you view your friends and neighbors, how you perceive strangers, what you believe, how you spend your money, what and who gets your protection, what and who catches the brunt of your anger, how you vote. We use words spoken in meaningful ways in combination with gestures and facial expressions to attempt to change the thinking of people we encounter. We all want to persuade others to see things as we see them, to understand our side of the story, to listen to our ideas and give them fair consideration. And there's nothing wrong with that. Persuasion is how we form alliances, how we convince others that our ideas and our often not so humble opinion are important enough to override whatever ideas, beliefs, or models of reality they may hold and have never questioned. It's also how you test your ideas against others. Sometimes in the act of trying to persuade others to change their minds, you are in fact persuaded to change your mind. It's one of the many ways we learn. Many uses of persuasive language are artful, enriching, and extremely beneficial. Persuasive words are powerful tools when well-intentioned leaders need to rally the public in times of need. Abraham Lincoln, Winston Churchill, Mohandas Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., John F. Kennedy, Ronald Reagan, Greta Thunberg, or even the gentle words of Mr. Rogers. Speak the right words in the right way and lift the hearts and spirit of the public. Inspire us, all to the betterment of society and our daily lives. And as you continue to watch and listen to this video series, I am, in fact, persuading you, aren't I? Persuading you to learn, to make and revise your models, beliefs, and understanding of the world according to your experiences, according to what information your senses convey, to conduct your life responsibly, to be mindful of your impact on the public good. I am not persuading you to hand me your car keys. Persuasive language is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used either constructively or it can be used to cause harm. It is easy to understand then that the measure of persuasion always hinges on the intentions of the speaker. There are and have always been ill-spirited individuals and institutions who use words to deceive us and prey on our inexperience and innocence, mindfully misrepresenting the truth in order to steal from you. Deceivers and cheaters, predators and perverters. Words have as much or more potential for injury than sticks and stones, because the power of words endures in our memories and in our hearts. I will not expand their notoriety by calling them out individually. We know them as con men, cheaters, crooked politicians, advertisers, cult leaders, salespeople, news media, social media, profit-crazed corporations, and divisive, seething, hate-filled organizations. One way or another, they attempt to sway you by manipulating your beliefs, your religion, your life experiences, your upraising, your cultural values, and all your joys, affections, expectations, frustrations, guilts, and prejudices and fears. All those parts that make you, you. Qualities that by no accident reside in your unconscious mind, as you learned in the first video in this series. Those predators mold and create distorted beliefs in people's minds for their personal gain, for purposes of political propaganda, for reckless corporate profit and domination, to perpetuate unfounded conspiracy theories they believe give them power and influence over the gullible. Their gain is your loss and damages the public good. This is not news to you. All too often we see and hear examples of their transgressions in the world around us. The question that must occupy you is why? Why do some people fall for the deceit? There is no single answer to that question because there are many kinds of deception. The word is a slippery catch-all word that encompasses the many diverse ways people's models of reality are perverted. Not just wrong or inaccurate, but actively and willfully corrupted by others with the intent to profit. Deception is a form of entertainment, mostly harmless. When a magician produces doves from a silk scarf, you may not know how it was done, but you don't really believe that the magician performed a feat that defies the laws of nature. You may be fooled, that is, you don't know how the trick was accomplished, but your skepticism that men wearing top hats and tuxedos are capable of performing real magic remains unchanged. You allow a temporary suspension of disbelief for your amusement. Most people, while curious, in fact, don't want to know how the trick was done. The methods behind the illusions, once discovered, are often disappointing. It takes a magician to make the presentation to feel magical. White lies is a broad category, including 1. All the things we say to people, while not truthful, meant to make them feel better. They are supportive votes of confidence. These well-meaning lies are usually harmless in the short term, but in some cases they can have unexpected negative consequences. Use them with great care. 2. Euphemisms. This is softer and indirect language substituted for words considered hurtful or insensitive when referring to something unpleasant, embarrassing, or has negative connotations. Downsizing as a euphemism for job cuts. Negative cash flow for being broke and in debt. Pre-owned cars for used cars. She passed away unexpectedly in her sleep for, to our shock, she died during the night. Euphemisms have potential to make misdeeds and exploitations acceptable. Euphemisms are the tool of choice for bullies. 3. Perpetuating urban legends and cultural myths like Santa Claus, Robin Hood, Tales of Coyote, Scheherazade, the Fountain of Youth, the 8 Immortals crossing the sea, the Gordian Knot, and Yamashita's Gold. These legends and myths are often meant to convey a lesson or moral. It can be the case where deceptions are not the act of outside agencies, but are self-generated. Self-deception is the self-talk that churns in our conscious minds, that colors and interprets our actions and behaviors, usually but not always, in a good light, to rationalize and justify our deeds and interactions. Thus it is we feel that we are always right, above average, and are overconfident when we can handle it when we aren't and can't. The opposite may also be true as well. We may misinterpret the deeds and actions of others in ways that were never meant and take the hurt. We may think in all or nothing patterns. Everything seems to go wrong every time. You always say that to me when it's an easy trap that we are all guilty of falling into at times. The purpose of this variety of deception is ostensibly to keep information from others as a protection. Sometimes your own secrets, sometimes the secrets of others. Whether this is a good thing or not depends on what effect the secret would have should it be revealed. Governments are notorious for their secrets, and because of this, the citizens' trust of the government can be degraded, even though the secrets are theoretically for their protection. The citizens may disagree. This disagreement may have long-term consequences and bleed over into a general sense of distrust in all figures of authority. If you act like a responsible citizen, then you feel you have earned the right to be told the truth. We may suspect, not without merit, that excuses of issues of national security and presidential privilege are blankets to cover embarrassments and corruptions. Promotional persuasion, hyperbole, exaggeration, vague and ambitious hints, boastful overstatements, and concealing understatements. You hear this in the pitches of braggarts and show-offs, damning half-truths and deception by omission. This is the realm of advertisers and salespeople. In the United States, the Federal Trade Commission uses the FTC Truth in Advertising Act to protect consumers at the commercial level. In the hands of an aggressive salesperson, however, the deception can be subtle and difficult to resist. Future videos will address strategies for this. Bias, slanting the facts, choosing certain words to color or emphasize select qualities while de-emphasizing others. Even choosing which information to report and which to ignore is a form of bias. The news media is guilty of bias, whether they wittingly intend to do so or not. News items to be conveyed quickly and easily understood must be digested and simplified. They are models of events, aren't they? By the very nature of the overwhelming number of daily events all over the world, some stories are selected over others because there's not enough time to report on everything. In this digestion, someone decides which news is important and which isn't. This cannot help but form a bias. Our education system, and indeed our cultures, also perpetuate biases, and because we're so immersed in them, we can rarely detect it. Scams are not harmless, annoying, self-promoting swagger, a means of increasing sales or unavoidable biases, but are criminal acts in which victims are defrauded out of large sums of money or personal property. The con men who perpetuate such crimes are very clever and have polished their scams by countless repetitions. Scams are sometimes passed from generation to generation and shared between con men, keeping up to date with new technologies and made to seem the more credible by referring to well-known public figures and corporations and local or world events. Their ploys usually rely on the victim's greed and prey upon their naivete. Everyone wants something for nothing. The old saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it's because it is sound advice. Brainwashing, cults, conspiracy theorists, tribal indoctrinations, end-of-the-world prophesizers, people acting on beliefs which are not just false, but often injurious to the public and self-injurious to the believers who continue to behave irresponsibly as a result of their belief in spite of the clear, unambiguous evidence and common sense. For most people, this is not hard to detect or resist. And when you see it happening in others, you are incredulous. Why do people choose to believe in crazy things? Coming up in the next episode of Be Smart. This video is just one in the series Be Smart. Each video is an important link in the chain of understanding. It is helpful to watch them in order because each one builds on concepts from previous videos. Thank you for watching and listening.